I really wanted to be a journalist. My dream when I was younger was to be a producer on 60 Minutes. I didn't want to necessarily be on camera, although I did want to be a foreign correspondent, but I wanted to be a news producer.
Can you tell me a bit about what the Newsreader is about?
The Newsreader is a complex relationship drama set in the maelstrom of a commercial newsroom in 1986. It's about a young, dedicated and driven journalist called Dale who desperately wants to be at the news desk, and he teams up with Helen, who is at the news desk but really wants to be taken seriously as a journalist. And together they are an unlikely pairing, but over the course of the 3 months that the Newsreader is set, they really change each other's lives forever.
It's the first day of school, so I was thinking we could actually get you interviewing a prep class.
You know, there was a bit of time between that pitch from Michael Lucas and it getting commissioned by the ABC. Can you talk through some of the challenges with this project from a producing point of view?
The challenges in getting the Newsreader up from a producing point of view were not ever the creative, because it was always in really solid hands, and every bit of development just kept showing how strong the creative and the script was. The financing was tricky. The ABC was supportive all along, but finding the international money was hard. What I was told was that period is really hard, and also that the Australian specificity of it, which I see as a real strength of the show, was a challenge at the time to get a distribution advance. Then finally we found the right partner. I met with Noel from E1 on a Friday afternoon. He was flying back to the UK that night. He read the script on the plane and called me from Hong Kong just to say how brilliant it was and that they were on board. So, you know, a lot of wheeling and dealing after that. But, we were really thrilled that we had such a great partner in E1.
So you put that in writing and, yeah, I'll consider it.
Through Helen, the Newsreader kind of explores these themes of, you know, mental views on mental health at the time, but also like inequality in the workplace. Why was it important to you to include these kind of themes within the series?
Well, we wanted to be real to life with the characters. Somebody like Helen, who on screen is so composed. You hear so many stories about people who behind the camera are not that composed self. We didn't want to put labels on anything, but it was really important to show complexity with characters, the sexism and the difficulties in the workplace. I mean, that was researched and that is accurate. One of my favourite characters is Lindsay, played by William McInnes. The ferocity of his yelling in that workplace, like, I get PTSD from it. Like, it's chilling, and it's amazing how many people have had experiences like that in the workplace. Hopefully not so much now, but certainly going back 20 years ago and further, it absolutely was happening. It's scary, but it's based on truth and research.
I am not kidding. Every day I have to back you up. Every day people come in here and they say, Helen Norval, she's a nightmare. She's got a face like a slapped ass. But I bat them all back. But you know what, Helen? They are f***ing right! Well, you take one more step, Helen. One more step, you're gone. I'm not kidding!
You know, there are some TV shows or movies that really lean into that kind of like big color palette and the like extravagant aesthetic of the 80s, whereas I feel like the Newsreader has a much more kind of naturalistic approach to that time period. Can you talk through the visual decisions that you made around that?
We always wanted to have a really grounded approach to the 80s. When you think of the 80s, often it's the MTV version with the big shoulder pads, the massive hair, and just the huge colours all the time. And the reality, when you look at movies set in 86 and that late 80s period, like Tootsie and Working Girl, whilst Working Girl did have some big shoulder pads, it's also very grounded, and the palette is quite neutral and quite a lot of beige and browns in it as well. And they were real references for us because we wanted to look like we were made in the 80s, not a show made about the 80s. It certainly wasn't a shoulder pads show. And that was important to all of the partners involved, that it was a really grounded approach. So we have the fabulous outfits that Helen wears, which are really research and accurate to the time period and give a bit of that flamboyance. You know, she has that fabulous dynasty hair and the big makeup, and shoulder pads certainly feature. But then when she's not being the newsreader, when she's being herself, it's a lot more grounded, and that grounded approach was really important to us.
I kind of liked it.
What do you hope audiences will take away from this series?
I hope that audiences will feel challenged by seeing a reflection of what the workplace culture was like in the 80s, and a bit of a reminder that it's not so long ago and that it does still exist in some places. So we have to really be vigilant about maintaining the improvements that we have. But mostly, I just hope that they really find it engaging and compelling, and, really get on board Dale's journey of getting to the news desk and his relationship with Helen. So I'm pretty thrilled with how it's turned out, and I hope people love it.